Getting to the root of something is really important, and I think that we get that intuitively. For example, when you're sick, you know very well your own symptoms: sore throat, congestion, mild fever. But the symptoms are not the same thing as the root of the issue. The symptoms are just the signifiers, the clues, so to speak, that is wrong, that you need to get to the root. A doctor will want to not just treat the symptoms, but will want to identify what the root of the issue is. And that's not just true with medical doctors. I want you to think about mental health experts. They will take the presenting issues, behaviors, etc., and those will be the signifiers that will lead, like clues, to the root of the issue. And ultimately, they're concerned with the root for the health of their patient. But we understand that getting to the root of something is important. Because if we continue to treat or just pay attention to behaviors, to these signifiers, then whatever the issue is, it will persist. That's the angle that I'd like to approach Proverbs 3, 9, and 10 with as it speaks about our wealth. It says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine." This passage is telling us to honor the Lord with wealth. But for the sake of understanding, let's flip that so that we can understand. What would it mean to dishonor the Lord with wealth? Well, let's establish this. The Lord created all that exists. Nothing that exists in our whole universe is there apart from God. It's the Lord that blesses us with wealth, and it's the Lord that blesses us with the capabilities and with the talents to earn wealth in the first place. Everything that exists is the Lord's. So, dishonoring the Lord with our wealth would be treating wealth like it is ours, like we own it. If I feel like I am the owner, I might be tempted to think like this. Well, why would I thank the Lord for this wealth if I am the one who produced it? Why does he deserve thanks? Well, that would be one way to dishonor the Lord, right? In fact, it leaves the Lord out of everything anyways. Honoring the Lord, on the other hand, would be recognizing that when the proverb says your wealth or your crops, that the your there is a total act of God's grace, because it really isn't yours. The Lord entrusts it to your care. You are the steward, the manager. And what an honor that he considers us worthy of such a task. What an honor that the Lord gives us the ability to work and to produce, and there's great dignity in that. Honoring the Lord would be remembering to have gratitude, a demeanor of gratitude toward the Lord who loves you completely. Okay, so I can know that everything was given to me by the Lord, that it is entrusted to me to take care of, but I can still dishonor the Lord with my wealth. My heart can give way to greed, hoarding these blessings that have been entrusted to me for my own personal benefit. I can still dishonor the Lord by acting in a spirit of selfishness rather than generosity. I can give the Lord my leftovers rather than my best. All of these things, they dishonor the Lord. Honoring the Lord, on the other hand, would be acting in a spirit of generosity, that I would give to him my best in time, talents, and treasure. That not only would he get the best, but he would be the priority. On the top of my budget would be my generosity to the Lord. And that I'll seek to honor him by being generous to others as well. That's what Solomon means by first fruits. Not as a law that earns me something with God, but in response to what Jesus has done for me. God has blessed us with every spiritual blessing in Christ. He has rescued me from my sin, and the only natural response is thankfulness. And if that grace wasn't enough, he promises more blessing to you. If you're generous to the Lord and generous to others, you will not be lacking. Your barns will be filled. Your vats will brim over. Now, here's what that doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that it's your giving for a return on investment. But when you put your trust in the Lord, you will never be put to shame. The Lord could entrust you with more to manage, or the Lord could create within you an amazing sense of contentment with what God has given you. That just two of the millions of ways that God can pour out blessing on top of blessing. He could do even more than that, right? Here's a practical takeaway. With thankfulness in your heart, pre-decide. Pre-decide that you're going to give to the Lord a certain percentage that you can give with thankfulness in your heart. And if you pre-decide, then it becomes a no-brainer. The paycheck comes in, the first fruits giving is automatic. The tax return comes back, the first fruits giving is automatic. This does two things. It solidifies your resolve to give back to the Lord what is already His, and it removes the uncertainty from each time that you receive income. If I had to decide each time, well, then my selfishness and greed may enter the equation, but if I've pre-decided, it's already a done deal. Okay, with that frame, I'd like you to hear the proverb just one more time. Solomon says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine."